Ladies and gents, welcome back. Digital ID has been a conversation piece in Canada for some time now. We had it recently tried to be introduced to us via the Arrive Can app. And Arrive Can app was a digital surveillance app that was forced upon people as they crossed any borders going to and from Canada or any other country in the world. If you entered Canada, it was required of you to have this largely unpopular app that had lots of glitches as they say, and led to people having tremendous fines if they didn't comply with it. So it was scrapped. They scrapped the app due to its large unpopularity. Now the federal government is pushing in other ways to introduce this. Famously recently, Justin Trudeau putting it in a budget constraint. If the provinces want to get money back from the federal government that they paid in taxes in order to fund healthcare, Justin Trudeau is putting that one on the table. Here's his statement here.
We're announcing that the federal government will be providing $198 billion in additional federal health funding over the next decade. This includes planned increases to the Canada Health Transfer and new funding of $48 billion over the next 10 years. Obviously, this is a major federal investment in healthcare. But we all know that money alone is not the answer. Each province and territory is facing different challenges. That's why we're focused on negotiating 13 distinct bilateral agreements that will respond to various situations across the country. This will make sure that real improvements are made and accounted for, particularly in 4 priority areas: primary care, healthcare workers, mental health, and health information and data.
Health information and data. Well, how does that manifest? That's the big question here. Well, we have here for digital identification pilot project to launch in Newfoundland and Labrador. It's funny how they have these new projects and they try to pick on small communities first to see how they'll respond to it. Digital ID pilot project to launch in Newfoundland and Labrador. The digital government minister, Newfoundland and Labrador, Sarah Studley, has come forward to declare the mandatory vaccine passport a success. Wow. I mean, many people will disagree with that, stating that her province will be building on that success to roll out a digital ID pilot project in 2023 with the support of federal government. Although many have warned that digital IDs pose an extreme risk to personal privacy, Studley contradicts them, describing it as a huge opportunity to protect the privacy of Canadians. Okay. She adds that digital ID will help reduce fraud, noting that her province will be the leaders in this space in Canada. This is not an isolated concern for Canadians. In addition to Newfoundland and federal governments pushing IDs in Canada, Ontario, Saskatchewan, British Columbia, and New Brunswick have all taken steps in the same direction and are all listed as on the Digital ID and Authentication Council of Canada as members. Saskatchewan has since temporarily paused the program thanks to the voices of outrage from their citizens. Thankfully, as many of the public, the other provincial politicians are questioning who is really behind these initiatives. We don't need to explain the risks, security, privacy, access, and controls, travel, purchase, expiration, or devaluation available with these digital systems. We've all seen and heard perhaps the leaps and bounds of developing technology and how it's been implemented in countries under dictatorship. Well, we've heard about the infamous social credit system in China and how it's been used to destroy any dissidents that want to stand up against the regime there, the communist government of China. This is Canada. Is this the Canada we want? We are now as polite and relatively neutral people, or we're known as a polite and relatively neutral people, but we're not sheep, and we cannot and will not allow these controls to gain momentum in any province or territory in Canada. So, well, what is digital ID? Well, let's have it explained by, somebody who's invested in digital ID, and, well, here we go.
Canada is on the cusp of a revolutionary innovation that will transform the way Canadians authenticate themselves online and protect their identity. Digital ID. All of us are living in a digital world, but we're tethered to an analog model of how we identify ourselves, memorizing countless online passwords, carrying government-issued licenses, plastic cards, and more. Digital ID is a way for Canadians to identify themselves to government, businesses, and each other electronically, with ease and rock-solid security, without the need to present physical documents. One interconnected network. A federated digital ID ecosystem developed in collaboration with Canada's best and brightest talent from our banks, telecommunication companies, law enforcement, and government. It would have the power and security to store every Canadian's electronic identity and attributes, and it would unlock countless opportunities for Canadians to verify who they are safely, quickly, and securely, while only revealing the information necessary for each transaction. A fast, easy, and secure way to bank, sign up for government services, renew driver's licenses or health cards, shop, travel, and more. Canada's banks are perfectly situated to help lead the creation of a federated digital ID system between government and the private sector.
Ooh.
The World Economic Forum agrees that banks and financial institutions should lead the path forward for digital ID. Banks are highly regulated
reputable source,
and trusted. They have advanced cybersecurity and privacy technology, and they have the infrastructure to operate provincially and nationally. Banks are also at the forefront of working with fintech startups who are bringing revolutionary mobile and online products and services to Canadians. Digital ID can help consumers navigate between these apps and programs with trust and confidence, knowing their ID is protected at all times. A federated digital ID approach can also significantly reduce fraud, save taxpayer money, improve regulatory compliance, and make it easier to do business as an owner and as a consumer. In fact, the Canadian Bankers Association just launched a white paper with our recommendations on how to move forward with a federated digital ID framework. I encourage you to read it to learn more.
So no one in security would ever say put all of your stuff in one place where if it was compromised, you would have all of it. Anyone would have all of it. They would obviously say compartmentalize all of your security. Make sure that it's not available. Of course, the World Economic Forum largely behind this initiative here in Canada when it comes to digital ID. But yes, of course, the arbiters of this saying that this would be more convenient for you than having the hard copies or any of these the old-fashioned ways of identifying yourself, neglecting to mention that they may, in fact, remove those abilities to use the old-fashioned ways of identifying yourself. Now, we have this coming from Breakfast Television. This is even a year ago today, talking about these digital IDs and what this will mean for Canadians in in Ontario.
If you're comfortable with it and you live in Ontario, you're going to have some choices here because Ontario's digital IDs will be launching later this year. The new government-issued IDs will live entirely on your device. So the good news is if you hate going to Service Ontario, which is always a pleasant experience in normal times.
I'm just going to throw this in here. Why has been going to Service Ontario been so unpleasant lately? Is that because of anything other than the government's interference with the way Service Ontario runs? I know if you're trying to get your passport these days, that's been a real debacle. Has that been the fault of the people trying to get the passports? No, it's largely been the fault of government. So are we going to give them the opportunity to, or would it be, the question would be, is that by design? Make it very uncomfortable so people would adopt this stuff. But why would you give an inept entity the ability to have this information on you.
You don't have to go because you can just renew that way. But then again, everything's on your phone. So if you're paranoid like Dina and I, it's an issue. But just to lay it out, you can use your digital ID to check in for virtual medical appointments, apply for government assistance like CERB, EI, access vaccination records, which a lot of people might be doing over the next 12 months. And you can also open a bank account. You
Apply for that CERB, folks. Yeah, that works out. Anyway.
You can use it to obtain birth, marriage, and death certificates, says the government. So there's, listen, if you can't get to a Service Ontario, if you can't stand in that lovely line and wait for all your stuff, there's some real benefits to this. No way am I having that much personal information on my phone. I'm not doing it.
It's terrifying. It's a hard no for me. In fact, yesterday, so we've been, staying late with.
So, anyways, a hard no back a year ago on the news, and well, that's where they just got to work harder to sell this fact, because even the news morning people were having a hard no on this fact of having all your information in one place. Not very smart. We have here on Twitter, Pelham reposting this TikTok from. Oh God, my eyes are just not having it this morning. I'll put a link in the description so you can check this out.
Podcast regarding the digital IDs. Yesterday in Canada, Justin Trudeau met with all of our provincial premiers and basically told them that we will not be able to get funding for our healthcare unless the premiers agree to the digital IDs. I will show all the proof. Now, those of you who think that digital IDs are great, they are not. Let me show you what these digital IDs will actually entail when it comes to control. Here's an overview basically of everything that will be included in the digital IDs. This can be found on the WEF website and also on all of the provincial and government websites. You will have healthcare. You will not be able to access any healthcare without this digital ID. Financial system. You will actually not even be able to carry out bank accounts or carry out anything online regarding financial transactions. Food and sustainability. This says for farmers and consumers, you will not be able to get into stores. You will not be able to even sell anywhere. Once they have this system in place, this is where the digital currency will come in. Travel and mobility. We saw that with the Arrive scam app. Humanitarian responses, which is basically just garbage. It's in case something happens, they will be able to track and find you, including if you don't want anything injected in your body. E-commerce. You will not be able to shop online. Then you have social media platforms. You will literally need this ID in order to get TikTok, Twitter, or Facebook. No more fake accounts. You have e-government. So if you want your taxes done, any sort of benefits from there, you will need this. Then it gets even scarier. Telecommunications. You will not be able to actually get an internet provider without this digital ID, and they will be able to track you. And then up there you have smart cities, and we all know what those are.
Anyway, I'll leave this in the description down below. You can go check out the whole video. There's a whole other minute left of it. But yeah, definitely go check that out. And let me know what you think of this whole idea. Would this be something that would be convenient for you? Have all your ID in one place. Let's put your money in that place as well. So, you know, you can have all the things controlled from one device your entire life. In your cell phone, stuck in your cell phone. And well, nobody would ever shut that off, would they? Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. We'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.